everybody, it's Kelly with Soulful Creations, and I'm here with another fabulous pattern. This time it's the Lettie Mini Bowler Bag by Kaya Papaya Designs, and I'm so excited to be doing a tutorial. This is my first tutorial for Kaya Papaya, and it couldn't have come at a better time because I just fell in love with this little bag that holds so much. So this was my first test bag made in this blue croc. I just love it. I have the gunmetal hardware, and the Lettie has this chain decor that you can put on. It's optional, but why not? I love some bling, okay? And you have your strap connectors on the side, optional again, if you want to add a crossbody strap or a chain strap. And then also on the bottom, you have purse feet, so it keeps it nice off the floor. They have these faux rolled handles, okay? And she makes them in a way where you don't see anything peeking out on the side because they're tapered on the end, which is genius, okay? And then this one, I want to just show you. I'm going to open this one up so you can see they both have a zipper pocket on the inside and a slip pocket. You see how there's plenty of room. There's so much room for, you know, full-size wallet, your phone, your keys, you know, lotion, whatever you want to carry in there. And there is a little bit of binding on the sides, but it's such a small amount. And please don't let that deter you from doing this pattern. It comes together so fast. I mean, from cut to finish, it takes maybe 2-3 hours tops. Well, 3 hours. I think it took me about 3 hours total, but that was me stopping and stuff. And so I think you can get this done fairly quickly, and it's domestic machine friendly as well. She has ways of reducing the bulk, and so you can do this. You don't need an industrial to do this bag. So I encourage you to buy the pattern. The link will be in the description, as well as all the materials that I use, where I get these nice chunky chains for you. I'll link that as well. I like that you can use different connectors. On this one, I'm using the what do they call them? Figure 8 connectors. So anyway, you can make it your own. It's such a cute, adorable bag. So again, get the pattern. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Leave me some comments. I love seeing all the comments. And let's get started on making the Lettie Mini Bowler Bag. So I have marked some lines on the back of my bottom piece here, and I've already punched the holes for my purse feet. So if you're not using purse feet, you don't have to worry about punching the holes, but follow the pattern to mark these lines, and we're going to sew on those lines. I'm going to sew from the wrong side, so you know, just make sure if you do it that way that your bobbin is good. If not, you can mark the lines on the right side, but just make sure you use a marking tool that will come off. So we're just going to go ahead, and I'm using a top stitch length of 5. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew right on those lines that I drew. And I'm going to pull the tails to the back, so I'm not going to back stitch. Okay, so drop in that corner and turn. And I have used Decorative Heavy. The pattern says Peltex, but you can use Decorative Heavy like I'm doing, or Peltex. In my first one, I did use Peltex, and I just I think I used double-sided tape to secure it in place because I don't get the fusible Peltex. Okay. Alrighty. And we're gonna drop the needle down right where we started. Okay. Alright. Alright. So my bobbin thread is here on the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the threads to the right side. But then I'm going to go ahead and then I'll feed them to the back. I just use a needle. So I just take a needle here and I'll just grab a couple of threads at a time. And I'm just going to go ahead and just bring that right to the back. And the same over here. I think I used the wrong one. You did that one. And then I'll tie these off to the back, and then I'm going to go ahead and install my purse feet. Okay, you can use 4 or 5, whatever your preference is. Let me get this one. Okay, so now I can tie these off. And I give it a little cinch here. Okay. So now your bottom should look like that. And like I said, so I'm going to grab my purse feet. I'm using 5 of them. Okay. And, oops. It would help if I push them through on the right side. Okay. And we're just going to go ahead. Put those on. All right, so after we get the purse feet on, then I'm going to go ahead and prepare my strap connectors, my crossbody strap connectors. So first I'm going to add some tape to the back of these. So I just have some masking tape here. You can use duct tape or masking tape. Alrighty, so now we have that done. So now I'm going to get ready. My hands are dry here. So we're going to go ahead and get our connectors, our D-ring connectors. So these little small pieces here, I have marked the center line on each one, and I've applied some double-sided tape. Okay, and then grab your 1/2-inch D-rings. And this is optional if you're not doing a crossbody strap or a chain strap, then you don't need to do this. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and fold that into the center, fold the raw edges into the center. Okay. Giving you a 1/2 inch here. And this one. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch down each side. And the other side. Get out the way. Okay. And now we can apply our D-ring. Clean this up just a little bit here. Okay, so just go ahead and fold that in half. You can add a piece of double-sided tape to hold it together, or you could just sew across, baste it 1/8 of an inch across, hold it together. Okay, and it should look like that. And same thing with this one here. I'm not doing a regular crossbody strap. I'm just doing a chain strap. So I still need the connectors. Okay, so now we have our D-ring connectors done. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to grab our handles. So you should have 2 handles cut. So let me grab my handle pieces. Okay, so let me move this aside. So we have our 2 handle pieces cut out. And then on the back, we're going to draw a line down the center and apply a piece of double-sided tape. Okay, and then now we have to make some marks on the back of these pieces here. So we're going to make some marks on each side, 4 inches in on each side. So just a little mark here, like I've done here, 1 mark here and here. And then at each end here, we're going to mark 1/8 of an inch in. So, and then we're going to connect those marks. We're going to draw a line to connect them. And then we're just going to trim that off. Okay. And what this is it just narrows the ends, so that when we make our faux rolled handle, we don't have to worry about these ends sticking out on the side. So very clever. Okay, so we're just narrowing that down a bit. So just trim that. So it should look like that. So now it's narrow on the ends. Okay. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, so now once we've done that, now we can just fold the raw edges in to that center line. Okay, just like we do for a regular strap. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. This one. Okay, now we turn it over to the right side, and we're going to take our ruler and we're going to mark that the 4-inch mark here on the right side. Okay. Get it together. Line up now. Okay. Line up. Okay, so I'm just going to make a little mark there. And there. And I'll do the same on this end. Okay. So once you made a mark 4 inches in on this end, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch. Okay. So I should have marked both sides. Sorry. So let me mark so I know where I'm starting and stopping on both sides. Okay. So I have a 4-inch mark on both sides. So I marked there on both sides. So I'm going to top stitch down to that mark and the same thing on that side. Okay, and then we'll pull the tails through to the back. So leave long tails. Okay, so don't top stitch the whole piece yet. So you can back stitch at that end, at the raw edge, but when you get to this mark, the 4-inch mark, just pull long tails. Okay, and then if you're starting at that point, so now on this side, I'm going to start at the 4-inch mark. So I'm not going to back stitch here. Okay. So it should be looking like this on this end. It should be looking like that. And we just can pull those tails through to the back and tie them off. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, and I'll pull these tails to the back. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tie these off. These tied off. And then we'll see what we're going to do next to make these nice handles. And I should mention too that if you wanted to put some stabilizer down the center, down the center of your, well, no, I would not put down the center, but on the side. Like if you wanted to put some stabilizer down one side of your strap, then you can do that if you feel it needs it. I didn't feel this vinyl needed it because we're going to fold it another time, so I didn't think we needed it on this one. Okay, so I'm going to trim these threads. This is vinyl. It's not super thick, but it is pretty substantial, so I think it'll be okay. Okay, and I'm just going to burn that a little. Trim these threads as well. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and fold. So this part here that wasn't stitched, we're going to fold that in half. I'll just use these little clips here. And we're going to go ahead and fold this in half. And we're going to top stitch. Okay, so we're going to top stitch right where we start, where we left off here. We're going to drop the needle there, and we're going to top stitch all the way down and end right where we started or left off right there. Okay, so our top stitching should meet up, and it should look seamless. And again, leave those long threads. We're not going to back stitch, unless of course you want to. But it looks nicer if you don't. Okay, so I'm just getting my needle in position here where I am. Okay, so make sure I have my threads, and I'm just going to do top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I'm getting to where I started, so I'm going to make sure that I drop my needle right in that last stitch there. Okay, and pull long threads, and then I'm going to pull the threads in through the middle here and tie them off. So there's your rolled handle there. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so let me quickly just go ahead. I'm going to use my awl here to pull those threads through, making sure I pull the right ones. Okay. You definitely don't want to be pulling the wrong ones. Okay. There we go. There. Okay, so I pulled that through so they won't be seen. Okay. And again, I'm just going to tie these off. And you can put a little dab of glue there too, if you want to. But I think if I just burn the ends, it'll be fine. Because I'm using a nylon thread, so. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to carefully pull this back so that I can burn those ends without melting my vinyl. There we go. Okay. And like I said, you can take your Fabri-Tac if you want, or whatever glue you want. And I've just decided I am going to put a little dab of glue there. So I'm just going to add a little tiny little dab. A little dab will do ya. I just dated myself, huh? No. My daughter's like, huh? What? What kind? What? That's an old commercial. Okay. So there we go. All right. So that should dry. And then we're just going to mark our placement for our rivets. So we're going to make 2 marks. So we're going to do 1/2 inch from the end, right in the center, and then 2.5 inches. Okay. 2.5. Oh, let me turn my sound off my phone. Kind of getting cuckoo. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have our mark there, and then we'll do this end here, 1/2 inch, and then 2 inches, and then that's where we'll punch our holes for our rivets. Okay, which I'm not gonna do just right now, but just okay. So again, like I said, that's your finished rolled handle, your faux rolled handle. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish up the second one, and then I'll come back with what we've got next. Alrighty, so I have both the rolled handles all ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to just set these aside, and we're going to prepare our connectors here. Okay. So, what I've done so far, I've done 3 of them. Well, I'm not quite done with these, but I want to show you what I've done so far. So I have I have 3 of my connectors here, and I have one here. Okay, so when you cut it out, it's going to look like this. So what I did was I put a little edge paint in this part here, and then I also painted the back here, because when it's closed up, I don't want to see the back of the vinyl there. So I just do that. And I also put a strip of Decorative light down the center, just for a little more stability. Okay, so I'm just going to slip my connector on, and you can use whatever glue you want, but I was using this, is this the one I was using? This Weldwood contact cement. So I was just using that. So this one is kind of almost done, but it's still good here. And I just put a little on both ends.
No paintbrush to be.
No, I don't need the paintbrush to do this. She needs to leave my paintbrush alone, Jassy. Okay. So, just let that sit for a minute. This one is getting thick. Okay. So I'm just going to let that sit for a second. But in the meantime, so what I've done was, on these, I've applied some Gardini base coat. So the base coat dents, I put that on the edge of my strap connectors, and it's been drying, and I think it's pretty dry. The trick with this is that you really do have to let it dry fully. And then I just take my little fine file here. Sandpaper, and I just go ahead and just sand it a little, just lightly. Make sure there's no rough spots. Okay, don't have to get too carried away. And I'll do that with each one. And then I'll go ahead and apply the color. And I'm just using black. Yeah. Just like that. Okay, and now these I can go ahead and I'll just match up the sides here. So matching up all the edges carefully. And I did cut these by hand, so I try to be as accurate as I can. It shouldn't be too difficult to cut these on your Cricut or Scan and Cut. You can create a cut file, SVG. Is that what it is, Chazzy? SVG. She said, I don't know. Anyway, but I cut them by hand, and they're pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edge paint. I'm going to put the base coat on this one and let it dry, and then I'll add the color like I'm going to do that. So like I said, I'm just using black, and I'll just show you quickly. And I usually put about 2 coats is enough, sometimes 3. But if you really let it, I added 2 coats of the base coat, and then I'll add about 2 or 3 coats of the black. Okay. And I'm just going to just roll it on. And if you really let it dry and you smoothed it with the file, it should go on and look really nice. So. Okay. There we go. Okay, so is that a good look, Jazz? Can you see good? So that's what it's going to look like on the edge. And again, I'm going to put another coat once this dries. Okay, so I'll just set that aside. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to paint these. and get these ready. And then I'll come back. Well, I'll probably skip over attaching them for now and let them dry, and we'll come back to this because I thought about having this all ready and done and having them dry and ready to attach, but then I really wanted you to just see the preparation. Okay, so we're gonna have to skip around a little and come back to this, which is no big deal. Okay, so you see how fast that goes. And then I want to give you a little tip for this base coat here in just a second. Let me just finish this one. Okay, so that's, there you go. All right, so those are ready. Those will dry. So about this base coat, so you buy a big bottle like this, and if you're like me, you don't edge coat that much, you know, and it starts to get a little thick, and they say it expires, but you know, this stuff ain't cheap, and I didn't want to just throw it out. So just get you some distilled water, okay? And I put some in this container, and I added some distilled water, and it loosens it right on up, and you can still use it. It works just as good. So if yours is getting a little thick and you can't apply it as well, just add some distilled water and just go ahead and mix it up, and you can still use it. So I'm not throwing it away. So, you know, that's what I'm doing. So it works for me. So just wanted to share that little tidbit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean off this. Start getting this one ready. And then we'll come back, and we won't add the connectors just yet until, well, yeah. When I come back, I'll just give it some time to dry, come back, and then we'll install the connectors. I don't want to skip ahead. I like to just kind of show stay pretty much true to the pattern, you know, for those that are making this for the first time. So I'll just go ahead and let those dry, and then we'll come back and we'll install them on our exterior. Okay, so my connectors are dry and they're good to go. I've put some double-sided tape on the back, and we're going to get ready to secure them onto our exterior. But first, I want to talk about the exterior pieces. So there's two options. You can do one whole piece, of which you would cut exactly like you would cut your lining piece. So I'm choosing to just use one color, one vinyl. So if you're going to do the option where you have the center contrast piece, so you would cut, obviously you're going to cut one right side, one left side, and then the center piece. So just keep that in mind when you choose which option you want to make. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have already marked the placement for my connectors. So I just put a little mark there, and the corner of my connector will go. So this part that's connected to the right here, this corner part, it'll butt right up against that mark. Okay, and on each side. So the placement is right there in the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and I will remove the double-sided tape, the backing rather. And I'm going to go ahead and place my connector right, the corner part right on that mark, and make sure that it's straight. Okay, and it should look like this. So again, this part right here, right on the corner, where it folds over onto the connector, it should come, this part should be right on the mark, right there. Okay, and I will do the other. Okay, and like that, right there. Make sure it's straight. Okay, and there she gives you a little measurement where you can just make sure that you have it, and the measurement is 3 5/8, and I am right at 3 5/8. So they should be 3 5/8 apart. Okay, and it should look like that. So now I have switched to my narrow foot because I want to be able to sew as close to the connector as I can. So I'm just going to sew around following the shape of my strap connector, and I'm going to leave long tails to pull to the back. Okay. And just take your time, please, because you want them to look nice. And hand cranky, I'm going to be doing lots of hand cranking here. Okay. I'm going to pull my tail to the back. A little bit more here. Okay. And now I'm going to stop right where I started. Get my needle right there. Alrighty. And pull that tail to the back as well. Okay. Just making sure my stitches, there we go. Alrighty, and it should look just like that. Okay, and I'll go ahead and I will tie these stitches off and go ahead and get all the rest sewn on, and then we will come back and finish assembling our exterior. I have all my connectors on, and I went ahead and I installed the rivets. So the placement for the rivets is 1 1/8 inch up from that point. So, and centered. So I decided I put my label on the back instead of the front. So I put my label on. I used the same placement that she suggests for the front, but I just put it on the back. So now we're going to add our bottom piece. So go ahead, we're going to match it up right here in the center part here of at the bottom of our exterior. And it should fit okay right there. Should fit right in between those notches. And we're going to sew this on at 3/8 of an inch. Oh, well, forgot to change my foot back. So let me change back to my regular foot. Get rid of this narrow foot. I was able to sew really close with this for my connectors. And let me hurry up and get this back on. I want y'all to know that Jazzy is rushing me because she wants to go to her friends. She wants to do a sleepover. And so, you know, she's rushing me. I want everybody to know.
Be so good.
Uh-oh. See, I can't even get it on because I'm being...
See, that's because you talk about me.
I can never see how to put this on over here. Why? Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. See? Can't be rude, Jasmine. All right. You know. She's like, can somebody else help you? But no, but Jasmine is like, she's my partner in crime. I need Jasmine to help me. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch. Nah, she's good. I'm gonna take her to her friends when we're done. Okay. They didn't even invite me to the sleepover.
Oh, my bad.
Can I pull that a little bit? I pull that. Okay. Alrighty, 3/8. There we go. Alright. And now we're going to fold the seam allowance towards the bottom and we're going to top stitch.
Just let me sew it.
I should let you sew it. You know what? I would, but you're leaving me.
Oh, really?
Sounds like something's going on under there with my thread. I hope it's not. Jasmine, you over there knocking something over?
No, I was grabbing my phone.
Oh, okay. All right, now we're going to do the other side the same exact way. And this little bag, it really comes together quickly. I love it. This little Lettie Mini Bowler. It's so cute. I would carry this in a heartbeat. I normally carry big bags, but I think this is so cute. And I like that it still fits everything. I carry a big wallet and it fits my wallet. And so... Alrighty. And now I'm gonna top stitch onto the base. Go. Alrighty, so now our exterior should look like this. Nice, nice, nice. I'm going to go ahead and mark those centers over here onto the narrow or the shorter side of our base. Okay, so we get ready to put everything together. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. So now we're going to grab our zipper. So I have the zipper here. Okay. So just grab your zipper. I don't have the zipper pulls on. We don't need them on right now. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, what's up with this? I have a defective zipper. Let me cut another piece of zipper tape because that piece looks like it's defective. I'm so glad I saw that before I got it on the bag. Okay. Yeah, those things happen sometime. Okay, let me make sure everything's looking good. Okay, so we're gonna mark a little 1/2 inch onto the back of the zipper. This is just to make sure that when we put everything together that our zipper is going back the same way it was put on. So we're just putting a little mark on the back. So we want to make sure those lines match up after we install our zipper. So let's put that little mark back there. Okay. All right. So, and we can mark the center. You can put a little snip, but if you don't like to snip your zipper, then you can just put a little mark. Okay, but I'm just going to put the tiniest little snip there. Just the tiny. And then I also like to take the little lighter and just kind of singe where I snipped. Okay, so just a little. And then we're going to match up the centers. So I'm going to start with the front here and match it up here. And we're going to base this on with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And your zipper will extend past the end. You want to keep that. Don't trim it. Leave it the way it is. Okay. Okay. So once you get that clipped on, we're going to baste it on 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Try not to stretch your zipper. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing. So bring the other end of the zipper up to the other side. And we're going to clip that in place. And we're going to baste this on as well. those raw edges matched up. Okay. All right, so now once you have that basted on, you could go ahead and open up your zipper. Open it up, and you should have 1/2 of the zipper on each side. Okay. Just like that. And then now we're going to, just let me check and see, just make sure what's coming next. Just make sure. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to stop here with our exterior. And then we're going to go ahead and get our lining prepared. And then we'll get ready to, after that, we'll get ready to put everything together. So we're going to the lining next. So now we're ready to install our zipper pocket on our lining. So I'm using waterproof canvas for my lining, so I don't have any interfacing, but if you're using cotton, always interface with a woven interfacing. I've made the mark where I'm going to place my zipper pocket overlay. So I have my overlay cut out, and I have the double-sided tape on the back. And I'm going to place that right on the mark and centered there. Okay. And I have my zipper, my zipper cut to the proper length. I have one zipper pull, and I have my 2 zipper pocket pieces. So I have a video on the zipper pocket with overlay. She does her zipper pockets the same exact way. So I'm not going to go and show the whole thing here. If you want, just click on that video if you're not sure how to do a zipper pocket with overlay, and just follow those steps, but use the measurements in the pattern and you will be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly do my zipper, and then I'll come back and then we'll do the slip pocket, and then our lining is pretty much ready to go, and we can start putting everything together. Okay, so I've installed my zipper pocket. It's all done. So you don't have to leave it open because we're not birthing this one. So go ahead and close up your zipper pocket if you have it. And now we're going to do the slip pocket. So you should have your other lining piece, your slip pocket piece, and your slip pocket trim. So I cut my trim at 1 inch instead of the 3/4 inches that the pattern says. Because I don't mind the raw edge, but if you would prefer not to have that, then you can do the 3/4 inch. So and then also I marked a 1/2 inch on each side of my slip pocket piece, and I put some double-sided tape, and I'm going to fold the raw edges into that line, and instead of sewing it together, I'm going to do mine this way because I'm using this waterproof canvas. And like I've said before in some of my other videos, that I just find this method to just be a little bit neater when you're using waterproof canvas. So you can use this way, or you can do it according to the pattern. There's no right or wrong here. It's just preference. So, so once I have my seam allowance folded in, then I'll just fold it in half. Bring the raw edges together at the top. And then we're going to go ahead and baste the top closed. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and baste that closed. And I already have the double-sided tape on the back of my slip pocket trim. So I'm going to take one piece of paper off of that, and then I'll go ahead and I'll place my slip pocket like just maybe about 1/16 or so away from the line, not right up against the line. Okay, and then I'll take the other paper backing off, and I like to fold the sides first and match up the sides just like that. Then I take my ruler and I just place it right up against those sides just like that, and then I fold it, and that way I'm making sure that my fold is nice and straight and even, just like that. Okay, so now I have that. I'm going to top stitch along the bottom 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And now I can just trim these extra pieces off the side, keeping it flush with the sides. Okay. And there's your slip pocket. Now we're going to go ahead and place that onto our lining. I didn't make my mark here, but just follow the pattern for the measurement of the placement. And I'm going to fold this in half just to get a little crease here. And I'm going to center it right there. Okay. So that's where my pocket should be. Okay. And now I'm just going to top stitch around the 3 sides. Okay. And you can do your pockets this way too, even if you're using cotton. It still works great. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add some rivets in the corners. I'm going to add a couple of rivets, one in each corner there, and then the slip pocket's done. So we'll be back after I go ahead and install those rivets. Okay, so I have the rivets on my slip pocket. I put a little reinforcement on the back with some Peltex. Now we're ready to add our bottom piece to our lining. So we're going to match this up right here with this bottom part here. So I'm just attaching it to 1/2 of my lining. Okay. And it should fit just right. Okay. Alrighty. And we're going to sew this at 3/8. We're going to start at 3/8 and we're going to gradually increase to 1/2 inch and then back to 3/8. So our lining fits nice and snug Okay, so I'm starting at the 3/8. Go, and then I'm going to start gradually increasing to 1/2, 1/2, and then go back into the 3/8. Okay. So hopefully you can see the stitches. It should be a nice little arc there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side with my other lining piece. Three-eighths. And we'll start to go. Increasing to 1/2 inch, and then gradually back to the 3/8. Okay. Alrighty. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just trim. So right here, these little corners here, we're just going to trim at an angle, just a little bit off there, just like that, on both sides, and then on this one too. And trimming that down to reduce some bulk. Okay. And then we're going to open up that lining. If you have cotton, you can just press this down. Okay, we want to open up the seam. Okay, but if you're using waterproof canvas like me, then you may want to add some double-sided tape to hold it down. It may not even hold down that well because double-sided tape, waterproof canvas with the PVC backing like this, it does not like to stick. It's a little too slick and slippery, but it helps some. So I'm just putting a piece on each side, right above my stitches, right in the seam allowance. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and then spread my seam allowance flat. Press it flat there. And like I said, it may not stay. It won't stick good, but it'll hold enough for me to do this. Okay? And I'll do the same thing with this one. And let's open up that seam as well. Okay. And our lining should look like this. Should look like this on the right side. Okay. So now I'm going to also go ahead, if you haven't already, I didn't do it yet, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to mark the centers on the short end of my base. Because we're going to need that later. Okay, so I'm just marking that center, putting a little snip there. Okay, so I have those centers marked there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get everything ready. And we'll start getting ready to assemble. So I'll be back. So now we have our exterior and our lining. They're all ready to get them all put together. So we're going to take our exterior, and it should be right side up. And we're going to place our lining down right side down on right on top of our lining. And we're going to match up the centers. Okay, so where the zipper is, and we're going to sew this on and make sure the sides and everything line up. Okay. So everything should line up on the sides. And we're going to sew the lining on at 1/4 inch. Not 3/8, 1/4 inch. Okay. And I do like to sew from the lining side. So I just clipped one side on right now. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and sew that on 1/4 inch. Okay, now we have that side on. Okay. And we're going to open that up. It's that double-sided tape that don't want to stick. That's okay. So we're going to open that up. We could also, I could have top stitched that down too. It wouldn't hurt anything to top stitch this down. I hear, where's my phone, Jackie? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to flip the lining to the back. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch. So make sure you get that lining pulled away from the zipper. If you have cotton, you can press it. You can press the waterproof canvas a little too if you need to. But just make sure, I'm just going to add some clips here just to hold everything. Make sure it stays in place. And I'll do the same thing over here. And we're going to go ahead, excuse me, and we're going to top stitch close to zipper 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper. So make sure you're pulling your zipper out. Excuse me. Get a little drinky drink. Let me I'll turn that fan off. That's probably what's doing it. Okay. I have the fan running to dry my connectors. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep a little snug little pull on my zipper. Hey. I had to take a bigger sip. Got the little tickle in my throat. Okay.
See the color of your nail shift on the camera.
Huh?
I can see your nail shift on the camera.
Oh my goodness, these crazy nails. I don't know why you talking me into getting these nails. But I'm trying something new.
It's cute.
Okay. So now we have that top stitched. Okay, so that's top stitched. Now we're going to go ahead, flip it back. Well, let me move these clips though. So let's flip this side back. And we're going to put right sides together again. And we're going to match up this side and sew the lining to the zipper. Making sure everything is matching up. If you okay. It's too quiet in this house. Did my kids run away?
Don't jinx it.
Did the rest of the kids run away? It's too quiet. Something's going on.
You know they be taking naps, weirdos.
I know you guys did not want to take naps when y'all were babies.
I still don't take naps.
Now they want to take naps that they're teenagers. You know. They're like, okay. So 1/4 inch sewing lining to the zipper. Okay. I just use the stiletto it helps keep anything from shifting. Okay. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so now this one is going to be a little trickier to top stitch, but we got this. Not too much. It's not too tricky. We just have to turn it out. It's about the same. It's not too tricky. I was thinking of something else. Okay, so now we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure we pull that lining away from the zipper, the exterior, get it. And I'll put a couple of clips here just to make sure, just like I did on the other side. Here. And I don't know if I mentioned that my exterior is the interface with Decorative Light. If I didn't, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm using. Decorative Light. You probably saw it. I just didn't mention it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and top stitch. And I'm pulling it away from the zipper. Okay. There we go. It's coming together. Okay. All right. So now we are going to bring these together like that. And we're going to grab our zipper pulls. So you should have 2 zipper pulls. Okay. So get your zipper pulls, and we're going to add our zipper pulls, 1 on each side. And those mark, that 1/2 inch mark we made on the back side, if we did everything correctly, it should line up. If we get these pulls on straight, mark should line up. Let me see. Yep, that line mark lines up. And then now I'm going to do this end. Let me burn that just a little. Just a little fraying just a little. Makes it harder to put the pull on when you have all those ends fraying. Okay. Let's make sure it's straight. There we go. Shade it up like that. Woohoo, looking cute, looking cute. Right? Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead. Again, don't trim nothing, okay? About to set it on fire, huh, Jazzy? All right, so we're gonna grab our D-ring connectors. Remember those D-ring connectors we did earlier? And we're gonna grab those and we're going to put one in on each end. So right there in the center. And we're gonna base that in place. So it should just go right in the center. Base that. Be careful sewing over the zipper. Okay. We got one. So one in place like that. And then we'll do the other. Oops, no. Well, got a little carried away. Pulled my thread out. There we go. I'm just basting that on. Alrighty, so now this is what we should have here. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to grab our gusset pieces. So you should have 2 exterior and 2 lining gusset pieces. Okay, so here are the 2 exterior, and they are stabilized with Decorative Heavy. Both of those, and then 2 of the lining pieces. And yeah, of course, you would use woven interfacing if you're using cotton. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get those on. Okay, so first, let me just double check the seam allowance. I think it's 3/8. Yeah, 3/8 there. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you do first, but I'm going to start with the lining and right sides together. So this is the right side of the lining. Place your gusset right side. Okay, and we're going to line. We're going to match that up there. You can sew it all at once if you want, or you can do one at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and just do one at a time. And I'm going to base this on at 1/4 inch. Make sure your D-ring connector is out of the way. That side. And then I'll grab the exterior and put that on top. And we're going to sew that one on at 3/8 of an inch. Like I said, make sure your D-ring is out of the way. You don't want to sew over that. I just go back stitch a little over the D-ring connector. Okay. Okay, so now bring both gusset pieces wrong sides together. Okay, and I just want to match them up here. Make sure that they meet up. And we're going to go ahead and top stitch here. Alrighty. Okay. So that's one side the gusset's on. And then we just need to go ahead and do the other side the same way. Okay, so I basted that on at 1/4 inch, and now I'm going to add the exterior at 3/8 of an inch. And bring those wrong sides together, and then we're going to top stitch. Alrighty, it's looking good. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn this out. Okay, we're going to turn this wrong side out. Just like that. I'm going to make sure everything, if you want, you know, it doesn't say to do this in the pattern, but from making the first one, I kind of feel like it'll help to kind of base the lining and the exterior together. I mean, she may have had, I'm sure she had her reasons, but I don't remember. And I hope I don't mess this up, but I did have a little bit, you know, the first time trying to keep everything together. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of base that and this So first I'm going to baste this together. The gusset, the bottom part of the gusset. I'm just going to baste that with a little 1/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, let's try. If there's any issue, then we'll know that it wasn't a good idea. But I'm willing to try. Okay. And then I'm going to baste these, just this right here on the sides, right up to that notch. Because we're going to get ready to sew all this together. And we're going to bind it. So I don't have to do the whole thing, but just enough just to hold it together. Just enough. Okay. Just so it's not shifting on me. I'm going to do this one too. That's the second time I pulled my thread loose. Let's be. Okay. So let's just see how this works. Okay. So all I've done was I've just, and I'm going to do, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do the base, the center of the base to the bottom, just right there. Just all the little raw edges. I'm just basting the exterior and the lining together, just so they don't shift and move when we get ready to sew all this together. Okay, because we are sewing it all together and we're gonna bind it. Okay, so I just went ahead and basted here, and I basted here, and I basted these sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down, the exterior and the lining together, and we're going to match it up at this, right at the notch here. Where you have the cutout, those corners should match up. And then you have the little V up here. So it should fold right there. I know, it's a little, oh. And so just like that. And we're going to sew down at 3/8 inch. Okay. And then we would do the same thing on this side. And already I feel like that's holding together a little better than the first time I did it. Okay. So I'm going to sew that down 3/8 inch. Make sure it's smooth underneath. And there's no puckering. Okay. Okay. So it should look like that. And then now we're going to do the same thing over here. So right here, these corners. And then just make sure it all kind of lines up right to the point up here. And then we're going to sew that at 3/8 also. Alrighty. Okay. So now this is where we're going to bind. So before we do this bottom part here, before we put our bottom parts together here, like this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bind these seams here. So just make sure you clean it up. If there's anything, you know, if it's not lined up good, I got a little bit sticking out here. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that down a little. And the same over here. Just makes it easier to attach the binding. See? Where is it, Jackie?
It's right there.
Where? Okay, so like I said, we're ready to bind. I have these little waterproof canvas strips, 1-inch strips. I put some double-sided tape on each side, and they're gonna go right there. So I'm just going to line it up like that to cover the stitches. And okay. There we go. So just like that on that end, and then I'll put another one on the other side. Well, before I forgot, here at the bottom, she does say to trim the corner. That's just to remove some of this bulk. So I'm just going to trim some of that corner off down there. There we go. The same thing over here. So we're just trimming this little corner to remove that bulk there. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're gonna my phone never rings. Okay. So now we're just going to go ahead. Do not sew past 3/4 inch. 3/8 of an inch. Keep it at around 1/4. We're going to sew the binding on. Alrighty. Make sure I caught everything on the other side. I did miss just a little piece over here. It's a little thick part right here. So I'm just going to go back over that part right there. No biggie. Okay. That's why I like to keep it with the same color thread. All right. So that's looking okay. All right. Now I'll do the other side. This side. Okay, and I think I caught everything on that side, and I did. Okay. So there we go. So that is done. Now we just need to go ahead and we're just going to, this is almost like doing a boxed corner here. So we're just going to I should have marked my centers here too, but I didn't. So let me just, that looks about right there. Okay. So gonna make sure this is reach under here. And just make sure that I got no puckers. And we're gonna sew this together. Okay. Good. I believe that looks good. Let me just take a peek, see inside, and just make sure it's looking good. Oh yeah. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, so now we're just going to sew. Sew right over that. Three-eighths of an inch. Be careful, because where you have your binding right there, you're going to sew over that binding. So take your time. This is a little thicker right there. Okay. And I think that should be okay. Like I said, I'm going to take a look and just make sure. I always like to check before I get ready to finish that off. And just make sure that those corners look okay. And they do. They look fine to me. Just need to push them out some more, but they look good. So I'm going to go ahead and push that back out. And we're going to add another piece of waterproof canvas to bind this bottom here. But I'm going to trim this off. And I'm going to just make sure it's nice and even here. Okay. And we're going to get that on. Sure. Fold that over. Got it down just a little too low. Okay, there we go. There. Okay. You can fold that back and sew over it, or I'm just going to trim the ends off, okay? Because it's a little thick there, so I don't want to fold it. So I'm just going to trim that off after I sew this on. Sounds like I need to replace my bobbin too. there. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to trim this little extra off. Okay. And just make sure. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. I just want to show you real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other side. And then all we have left to do is just put our handles on. And we are done. So I just need to push that corner out just a little more. And but otherwise, I mean, you can kind of see. Let me just turn this out so you can see what that's looking like. It's looking pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let me go ahead and do the other side real quick. And we'll come back and get the handles installed. All right. I went ahead, I put the handles on, and it's looking so adorable. Oh my gosh. It is so cute. So all that's left for me to do is put the little decorative chain on. So this chain is already the length that it's supposed to be, I think 5 inches. And I got it from Amazon. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach it here. It has the gate rings. Just put that there. You don't have to put a chain if you don't want to, but I just like a little extra bling bling. Okay, alrighty. Oh, that's so cute. Look, Jazzy, look, Jazzy.
Oh,
Now, isn't that so cute? Oh my God. So, I might make a vinyl strap, but I have this chain strap as well. So you can put a chain strap on there. And it is just so freaking adorable. I love it. Oh my goodness. So that's it. This is the Lettie. I haven't decided. Should I have the label in the front? Now I'm wondering if I should want the label in the front. I can always switch it around and put the chain on that side.
Whatever you like most.
I'll decide later. But anyway, the whole point is we're all done with the Lettie Mini Bowler Bag by Kaya Papaya Designs. And it is such a fun sew. It comes together so quickly. And you see that little bit of binding, it helps give the shapes here. You know, and it's not a big deal. It didn't take any time to do. That taper that she has you do on the straps here, so nothing's sticking out on the right side. You know, it's just, I just love that. I love that idea. So this is it, and it opens up. It opens up nice and wide. You know, so you can put all your goodies in there and plenty of room in there. So, again, this is the Lettie Mini Bowler Bag by Kaya Papaya. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please, so I can continue doing these videos for you. And everybody, take care. Get the pattern, please. Get the pattern. And thank you.